Gentlemen, welcome to the Monday night live stream for student loan. Sorry, Tuesday night live stream for studentloanjustice.org. I hope everybody is doing well out there in the world. It's June 27th, Tuesday. Unfortunately, we did not see the Supreme Court ruling that we were hoping would come down today come down. So that, at least if the calendar of the Supreme Court is to be trusted, that leaves us with Thursday as supposedly being absolutely the day that Biden's student loan cancellation gimmick will be ruled on. If you're new to the group, welcome. We are studentloanjustice.org. We are the first, the oldest, the largest, and the only true grassroots group fighting only and absolutely for student loan justice. We've got 1.4 million members across the country. We've been featured on 60 Minutes and Fox News and everywhere in between. We're glad that you found us. As I said, please spread the word about this group if you would. Although we have 1.4 million members on paper, we need way more people in this group. We should have 38 million people in this group. There are 38 million distressed student loan borrowers in the country. So we're fighting for two things. Most prominently, we started the conversation. We injected the concept of canceling student loans by executive order into the public conversation with a seminal article in Vice News in summer 2019. But more to the point, it was our petition, which hopefully you signed at change.org/cancel student loans, that propelled the idea of canceling student loans by executive order into the zeitgeist. Interestingly, Donald Trump was actually the first president to broadly cancel student loans by executive order. So this current Supreme Court case is just a travesty on many, many, many levels. The ironies are everywhere in and around it. It should have never even come to trial in the first place. The Republicans are idiots. Politically, they are idiots for challenging it, and I can get into that later. But the second thing that we're fighting for, guys, and really it's the first thing, because it undergirds everything, is the return of bankruptcy rights as they have been enshrined in the Constitution and as they have been uniquely stripped from student loans to student loans. Bankruptcy leverage has got to be returned to student loans. And quite frankly, the most important thing that I'll tell you tonight, unless and until we get the right, the leverage of bankruptcy returned to us, we're going to be begging this president or the next forever to cancel loans. And what we'll get is nonsense like what we've already seen from Joe Biden. So that's very important. Anyways, I hope everybody is hanging in there. We've been sitting here on eggshells waiting for the Supreme Court case to finally be decided on. And frankly, it's not because we really care which way the decision goes. The loan cancellation sucks in the first place. And Biden based it on very ill-fitting law. He didn't base it on Section 1082 of the Higher Education Act, which he should have. So, but rather, it's important because many other things in Washington, D.C., legislative things, kind of depend on how the Supreme Court case goes. So it does become important in that regard. But anyways, I know everybody's just so sick of waiting. I know I am. I was up at 5 a.m. today. We were scheduled to go on all manner of live national news broadcasts shortly after the ruling, which was supposed to come today, never came. But anyways, quite frankly, I don't know what the reasoning for that was. In the back, I could throw out a few guesses. One guess, quite frankly, is that Samuel Alito, who was exposed last week for taking luxury fishing trips in Alaska with billionaires who have cases pending before the court, most notably the student loan cancellation case, maybe gave Alito cold feet. So who knows what's going on behind the scenes? That could be one thing. And you may have some other thoughts, but if you have any questions or comments and you're watching us on Facebook or Twitter, by all means, throw them out. No matter how the Supreme Court case goes, guys, we're kind of screwed because they are going to turn the loans back on. And we currently do not have the leverage of bankruptcy on our side. Don't believe any of the nonsense you see in the mainstream media about how the Biden administration made it easier to discharge your loans in bankruptcy. That's all bunk, guys. That's all nonsense. The law has not changed. This undue hardship standard still remains uniquely for student loans vis-a-vis all other loans. And so don't think for a minute that the Biden administration has done anything on bankruptcy. They have not. And I can talk about that more if you want me to also. But yeah, guys, no, we continue to push forward in the only way that makes sense. If you want actual, not pretend, not fake, not $10,000 student loan justice, that's all nonsense. So to that point, we are meeting with legislators across the country. Today, we met with a very key senator, his staff actually. I'm not going to say who or where from or anything like that, but I will just say thanks to Jackie for arranging that. We will be meeting with other legislators, but that only will happen when you, their constituent, sets up the meeting. So we're asking everyone to contact both of their senators and their House representative, so your congressman or woman, and arrange a meeting to talk about returning bankruptcy rights to student loans and bring us into the meeting. You can give them my contact info, Alan Collins, Student Loan Justice founder, phone number, area code 202-594-1120, email Alan, ALAN, at studentloanjustice.org. Set up a meeting. We in particular, we would really like to meet with Republican members of the House of Representatives. That is kind of where this game is going to get won this session, guys. Last session, the Democrats had the House and the Senate, and they betrayed us. They blatantly and viciously betrayed us. I'm just going to say, we're a fiercely nonpartisan group, by the way. We pretty much can't stand either party, to be quite honest with you. But yeah, no, this session is all different because the Republicans have the House. Jim Jordan has the Judiciary Committee. We need to get into meetings with Republican members of the House of Representatives. We've met with a little over a dozen now at this point, but guys, we're halfway through the year now. We should be way ahead of where we are. And as I said, that only and absolutely happens when you, the constituent, so you live in their district or their state, make that happen. So get on it, guys. These are your loans, and this is your problem. And we tell the truth on this group. We're not a bullshit group trying to blow smoke up your ass. This is going to be very difficult. This is a very tough battle. Don't believe whatever. I don't know what the other groups are saying. The other groups are not fighting for the return of bankruptcy rights, and shame, big shame on them for that, because they know what I know. And people in Washington, D.C. know what I know, that this whole thing comes down to bankruptcy. They can screw us around and toy with us and string us out forever as long as the leverage of bankruptcy remains gone. And these loans will be turned back on, guys. And the number one fantasy, the golden trophy for the student debt collection industry is seeing these loans turned back on and bankruptcy rights remaining gone from the loans. That gives them a license to steal. So we got to get on it, guys. These are your loans, and this is your problem. And you can't sit there like a wallflower and think that anybody else on this group is going to pull your weight for you. That never works. Never works. The only way that this group is going to get anywhere are when our members fight. Our members get off the stick and own this problem. Don't expect anyone else to pull their weight for them. And look how far we've gotten, guys. I mean, make no mistake. We wouldn't be talking about student loan cancellation by executive order today, but for the people on our group. And you all know who you are. Thousands, tens of thousands, arguably hundreds of thousands of them, or even millions of them, if you include everybody who signed our petition. But guys, it takes way more than signing a petition to get this problem solved. You got to get your hands, your knuckles a little bloody, your hands and maybe your pants a little muddy, whatever. We can't do this without you. And we've been doing this for over 18 years now. And I can tell you, when you expect somebody else is going to pull your weight for you, it never happens. We need fighters on this group. We need people who are strong and who see the national threat that this lending abomination poses to the country. Because remember, guys, if they can do what they did to student loans to other loans, they will. They will make credit card debt similarly non-dischargeable in bankruptcy, medical debt, you name it, all consumer debt. They would love to put similar barriers to discharge in bankruptcy. It's student loans is the camel's nose under the tent. We can't let this thing stand, guys. And so there's a lot riding on this. Hey, I'm going to look for your questions and comments now. If I can see them on Facebook and or Twitter. Hope everybody's doing well out there in the world. Hey, while I'm waiting for this page to load, if you can donate right now, it would be very, very helpful. We have a very difficult week of fundraising. We need to raise around $680 the last I checked. That's a lot of money by our standards. So we need like $620. So we need 62 people to donate $10 or more. And guys, it's very difficult. I should also add, it looks like my laptop is starting to fail. So I can barely type an S or a W on my keypad right now. I don't know if I spilled coffee on it or I don't know what happened, but it's getting worse day by day. And my guess is that by the end of the week, it may be completely, I mean, I can try taking it apart and cleaning the sensors, the sensor pad, but I don't know, guys. And the laptop that we like to use costs around $300 and something at Walmart. So that's another added expense that it looks like we're going to be coming up on sometime, maybe towards the end of this week. We can't do this without you guys. We just can't. We can't. We've managed to get this far on very little funding. But dudes, if you appreciate what you're doing, would you please make this fundraising just a little bit easier on us so I can shut up about it, because I hate fundraising and I suck at it. But this group is very important. It just is. And I hope that you can see that. And I hope that you will agree that this group is worth having around for a while. Anyways, I'm going to shut up now. Hey, Paula Schultz is with us today. Hey, Paula, thank you for the donation earlier, Paula, by the way. I really appreciate it. Christina Winton says on the live stream now, another article came out, and tomorrow a longer article that I hope quoted more of us and our rights being gone. That's right, Christina. We've been tearing it up in the media lately. We were featured top story type of thing at The Guardian and at Newsweek last week. Today, Christina was interviewed in another sort of magazine type thing. I've never heard of it before. I think it might be like International or something, but good on you, Christina. I should probably also announce, we've had an ongoing fight with an asshole, pardon my French, named Michael Heberling, who is like the dean of the business school at Baker College in Michigan. And he has written some just scathing anti-borrower articles about student loan cancellation, about how about how the student loan borrowers are lazy and entitled and they need to pull themselves up by their bootstraps and blah, 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 blah. Well, I looked into this Baker College and it is a freaking diploma mill. Their 2-year, not their lifetime, their 2-year default rate is 70% freaking percent. Their students are being wrecked by student loans. And it's just a little tiny little podunk, should be a for-profit. It actually is a non-profit, it turns out, but that doesn't even matter. It is a shitty diploma mill college. So I'm very happy. And I reached out to a reporter at ProPublica a year and a half ago about this college. And lo and behold, I found out today, and this reporter contacted me and she told me that the Department of Education, although they suck and they're in bed with the colleges anyways, the Department of Education is now investigating Baker College because a number of reasons, but like they spend more on advertising than they do on financial aid. So that's a good harbinger. That's a good indicator of a diploma mill. So good on us. That's just a little small thing. We do that kind of thing all the time, guys. We do research on this group, and what we find is often amazing, amazingly bad and terrible, and usually very newsworthy. So, anyways, oh, by the way, I'm very glad to say that finally our long-standing research showing that before the pandemic, nearly 3 out of 5 borrowers were not making payments on their student loans. That little nugget of truth was finally evinced in both the Guardian article and the Newsweek article of last week. So that's actually major progress in terms of informing the public discussion. I'm now seeing that there was, I wouldn't call it a copycat article, but there's another article out today at Fortune magazine, which is, at least the headline is saying something similar. So I haven't actually read the article yet. Maybe they used our stuff. Maybe they didn't. I don't know. But whatever. You heard it here first, guys. We do some of the most, in fact, I would say we do the most significant and compelling research about the student loan problem than any mainstream media news shop or any news shop, frankly, in the country. That's true. We're still waiting for some mainstream media to break the story, for example, the headline, for example, that older people now outnumber younger people with student loans, and they owe far more on average, despite having borrowed far less on average many years ago. That's a very important headline, don't you think? Most people in the world think of student loans and they think of young, liberal, blue-haired snowflakes. That's another story that has not yet been broken. The fact that Gallup and Pew research shows, Gallup polling and Pew research shows that a slight majority of student loan borrowers are either Republican or independent. They're not all Democrats. That's not true. It's roughly an even split. If you look at research, if you look at Pew and Gallup research showing the political affiliation of people who have been to college, that is both graduates and non-graduates, yeah, it's about roughly an even split between Republicans and independents and Democrats. So there's a few more Democrats, but if you lump the Republicans and the independents together, it's actually a majority are, Republicans, independents. Also, the fact that the federal government has been making a profit on defaulted student loans and making a massive profit on student loans in general. Those 2 points are never made in the media. They are true. It is true. The government makes a huge profit on student loans, and the government even makes a profit on defaulted loans. Those 2 things are true. I don't think you have ever seen any news article showing that that is true. And it's very easily proven by nothing more than federal data, by the way. Anyways, we're very proud of our research. If you want to see many headlines, more than what I just described, and vet them for yourself, you're more than welcome to. You can see our stuff at studentloanjustice.medium.com. And also, is it studentloanjustice.substack.com? It's our Substack. Just Google us. You can find it. Joanna Kearns from Florida is with us. Hey, Florida. Hey, Joanna Kearns. Speaking of Florida, it would be really good for us to make very strong things happen in Florida. Florida is sinking in student loan debt. The state budget of Florida, last I checked, was $80 billion. The people of Florida owe $120 billion. Like, interest alone on that is like $7 billion a year being sucked out of the state of Florida and sent to the books of the Department of Education. Like, the last I checked, the annual revenue of Disney World was right around $7 billion. So all the money that Disney World brings in and basically feeds the entire state of Florida with revenue, That in all that huge, that in almost that entire revenue stream. I'm going to look more closely soon. And if you want to look and you come up with some different numbers, let's compare notes. All the money that Disney World makes in a year gets sucked out of the state in interest on mostly federal student loans alone. Think about that. That's terrible. That's just ridiculous. Hey, Heather Taylor's with us tonight. Hey, Heather. Heather says we should try to find recent data about how many are red, blue, independent, and green to show our politicians that 55 million borrowers, including Parent Plus borrowers and private student loan borrowers and cosigners, I'm adding, can swing this election wherever we please. That's true. We are the largest, I would say, politically largely untethered voting bloc in the nation. And remember also, of those 55 million borrowers, parents, and cosigners, parents are also borrowers, of those 55 million people, 85% of them were never going to be able to repay their student loans even before the pandemic, and they vote. So we're talking 44 million people who are losing sleep over their student loans, and they vote in a far higher percentage than the average public. So if you look at close states like, I don't know, Georgia, Nevada, Arizona, Michigan, Pennsylvania, a few others, student loans killed the red waves in those states. It's true. Student loans is the reason that Donald Trump lost the 2020 election. Maybe there was cheating, who knows? But all things being equal, yeah, student loans absolutely tip the scales and against the Republicans. We're a fiercely nonpartisan group, guys. We can't stand the Democrats. We can't stand the Republicans. But the Republicans are freaking idiots on this issue. They are putting their thumb in the eye of their own base. 20% of all U.S. adults have student loans, and 85% of those people were never going to be able to pay their loans, even before the pandemic. Half those people are Republican and independent. So slightly less than a fifth of the GOP base, they're being wrecked by student loans, and their candidates are doing nothing but alienating and insulting and discouraging them and saying terrible things. That's stupid. That's how you lose huge numbers of elections, as we are seeing the Republicans do these days. And this is only getting worse, by the way, guys. This is only getting worse. It's not getting better. The numbers are getting even worse, if that's even possible. So, 3 out of 5 people were not paying before the pandemic. Whenever they try and turn these loans back on, probably 4 out of 5, probably 80% of all borrowers are not going to resume paying. Probably / maybe even more than that. So this lending system is it's done, guys. It's toast. This could have a good ending, which is what we're fighting for, which starts with the return of bankruptcy rights to the loans and ends with very broad, very widespread student loan cancellation, because it will be compelled to happen with the threat of bankruptcy back on our side. That's the good ending. And that could happen by the end of this summer if we all on this group tried. We are the eye of the storm in the fight for actual student loan justice. Not only are we the eye of the storm, we are the freaking storm, guys. None of the other groups are fighting for bankruptcy. And shame on them for that. Quite frankly, I'd say they're probably corrupted, and I don't say that lightly. And I can talk about that later at some point, but I think I'm going to save my breath for tonight. Paula Schultz says, how many suicides had student loans? Yeah, great question, Paula. We document them on a very regular basis. In fact, last fall, there was a family of 8 in Oklahoma. I don't even want to talk about the story because it's just too sad and gruesome, but the entire family perished. It was a suicide. It was a family side. And that family had filed for bankruptcy on their student loans a couple years previous. And that family found out the hard way that, oh, no. And by the way, student loans was 94% of all of their debt. So that family was duped into filing. They got all the shame of a bankruptcy, and they got none of the relief. and it's just a tragedy. So who knows how many other tragedies are happening, have happened, are happening, and maybe most importantly, how many more are poised to happen, particularly after they turn these loans back on. It's going to get very ugly, guys. The bad ending is that Congress does nothing, and this abomination of unconstitutional lending scam, and it is a scam, is allowed to continue. It's going to be very ugly. We don't want that bad ending, and I hope that you don't either. I don't even want to go there. I don't even want to envision that. I'm focusing on winning and getting good, clean, economically stimulative ending, and I hope you agree. Paul Schultz also says, how's the van trip? Great question, Paula. I'm glad you asked. As you hopefully know, we were finally able to replace the SLJ van a couple of months ago, and we are thinking very carefully about trips that we need to make in the SLJ van. It's actually more of a minivan. It's like an SUV, but I couldn't find one of the white vans like I like. But we have to wait until the dust settles from the Supreme Court case. Like, we don't really care which way the case goes, but a lot of stuff depends on it. So over the next month, we're going to be really fine-tuning our deal. I'm very hopeful that we can make it out to the Iowa State Fair, but I don't know. That's going to be the first couple weeks in August, and that's like a month away. So I don't know. I don't know. We were hoping the Supreme Court case would be decided well before this, but anyways, so we're kind of waiting on that, but that should happen on Thursday. So after the dust settles from that decision, things will hopefully make themselves very clear for what we should be doing. Oh, good. Thank you, Paula. I hope to make it to Los Angeles. Actually, that would be really cool. But yeah, we'll see. I'd like to go to South Carolina, Texas, Iowa. I'd like to make a little jaunt out to the West Coast, actually. So we'll see. But let's keep talking. And I appreciate the offer, Paul. You know I do. Heather Taylor also says, and how many of our nation's homeless population and vets? That's right. Many, many, many homeless people have student loans. It's true, including quite a few on our group that I know. Veterans are being absolutely wrecked by these loans, way worse than average. Which is ironic because, on Twitter and stuff, when we get in fights with the haters, so many of those people are like, I joined the military and I got the GI Bill, and what's the matter with you? Why don't you pull yourself up by your bootstraps and pay your loan? Why should my tax dollars? I served in the military. And I'm like, you fucking assholes. Servicemen and women are targeted and victimized by these loans far worse than average. And I might also add, if the taxpayers paid for your college through the GI Bill or any other kind of way, then who are you to be wagging your finger at us? Like, how many millions of dollars did the taxpayers spend to train, equip, pay for healthcare, house, clothe, and other things for you? But anyways, I digress. We love veterans, and we thank veterans who served, and we appreciate all the veterans who are in our group on many levels. Let me just say. So I will leave it there at that. Okay, guys, I've gone, I think, way over time tonight, and I apologize for that. Maybe one last comment. Paula says, why should my tax dollars pay for all the hurricane relief all these years? They chose to live there. Good point, Paula. Why should my tax dollars pay for a millionaire to get a multi-million-dollar PPP loan handout when he didn't even need the money and his business didn't even suffer during COVID? Why should my tax dollars pay for $7 trillion to be sent to the deserts of Afghanistan and Iraq, only to be pissed away and left for worthless in the desert? On and on and on. Why should our tax dollars be paying for 43,000 millionaires and billionaires to get a pandemic COVID tax break of $1.6 million each. Why? So anyways, fill in the blank. There's probably about 300 other things that I could have put in that slot. So, okay, guys, I'm going to leave it there at that. See, the chat is pretty active. I'm sorry I can't get to all your comments. But hang in there, guys. I know the waiting is the hardest part, as Tom Petty would say. And we're getting, hopefully, very close. I can only expect that we'll see something real on Thursday from the Supreme Court. So stay tuned. Hang in there. Good luck. Do our daily actions if you have never. Go to our website and do 2 weeks worth of our daily actions. They're quick. You need Twitter. Just do it, please. This is a working, fighting group. I'm not going to repeat myself. And you know, we're not going to beg people to help us. These are your loans, your problem. You got to help. And talk to Taylor, talk to Heather or Paula or any of the other people on the live stream. They are fighting this battle, and they are fighting, and they are the reason that we're winning. And they will tell you it feels very good to fight this fight. So good luck. Godspeed, everyone. And God bless. And we'll see you soon.